What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. So it's going to be a short video. I just wanted to kind of touch on Underdog Fantasy. I just kind of realized has this really cool, easy to use exposure tool. So you can go take a look at, um, where you're at so far. Right now for the Underdog, the $25, the big best ball tournament. I've got 11 teams drafted, and I want to take a look at some of my top guys. Um, these are probably going to be names that you've probably heard us talk about before. Brevin Jordan and Irv Smith. These are just two tight ends that I believe they just are really, really cheap. We're just kind of talking about it today with a few other people. What we're looking for in best ball is you're looking to have on your team players that can spike. Yes, it's okay to have a couple of consistent players here and there, but really, I want players that can spike on a week to week basis. And I think that Brevin Jordan is one of those guys. I think that Irv Smith is one of those guys. Based on where they're going for their ADPs, Irv with an average ADP of 141, Brevin Jordan with an average ADP of almost 200. I mean, these guys are essentially free. It allows you to kind of wait till the very end of the draft if you want to take one or two of these guys. Some other guys that I'm picking up, Will Fuller. I mean, he's essentially free. If you take a look at his ADP, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know where he's going to go. There's a lot of speculation, but in best ball, I'm willing to take the stab on somebody like Will Fuller because he is again one of those spike type players. Got a couple of Niners coming up here next. Danny Gray, obviously a rookie this year. Um, Fast burner. Again, one of those guys that I'm not drafting people at this point in the draft to be my solid every day, like kind of just dependable producers. I'm drafting people down here that can spike. I want to grab and capture the 2 to maybe even 4 weeks that Danny Gray goes 15 to 25 points this year. Because if he's getting solid playing time, he's going to do that, right? Elijah Mitchell, this one baffles me. Where I'm getting Elijah Mitchell at is just straight up criminal on a regular basis. Elijah Mitchell should not be going this far. The Niners are actively holding him out because they are trying to keep tabs and keep him healthy. He just consistently keeps falling down the draft boards. And if he's going to keep going, his average ADP is 66.7. There is no chance. I mean, the last few drafts, I've gotten him quite a bit later than that. Rondale Moore, look, I know that there's going to be a lot of mouths to feed on that team. But again, Rondale Moore, I've got him in about half of my teams right now. Really like the opportunity again. And again, it's the same thing. I'm looking for guys who can spike. First 6 weeks, your overall points for the first 14 weeks is what's going to get you to the next round, right? So the first 6 weeks are important, and Nuke isn't going to be there. So if I can bank some points with Rondale Moore to kind of get through, hey, well, I'm all in for that, right? A couple of other guys. Jeff Wilson is the clear backup, and in a very easy handcuff to make with Elijah Mitchell right here. I don't understand why more people are not. I guess people just don't know or don't care to read. But I mean, Jeff Wilson, I'm sure is the blur. Yeah, look, even the like horrible fantasy news little blurb is telling you that Jeff Wilson's on track to be the number 2, and yet he's still going at ADP 210, which is essentially like later than the last pick in some of these drafts. I'm taking him a lot earlier to get him just because he's better than a lot of players out there. But I mean, man, you know, Devin Singletary is another guy too that, I know that they drafted James Cook. I think James Cook's going to be a great player, but it's going to be James Cook and Zach Moss splitting time. Devin Singletary is going to get 60 to 65% of the carries. And in best ball, in regular season, yeah, Devin Singletary is not really a guy I want to go after because it can be so difficult to pinpoint those weeks when he's going to be the guy that you want to have in there. It's one of the funnest parts about best ball is you just have to identify the opportunity and the skill set of the player and why the player is on the team, and then go from there, right? Some other guys, Sky Moore, obviously, I think is a player that I'm pretty high on. I think he can, have those spike weeks. I'm not a big, Juju Smith-Schuster proponent. Nicole Hardman is, he's had quite a few chances, really hasn't done anything with them. But all those other guys that were in KC, Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, like those guys are all gone. Like Pringle's on the Bears, Demarcus Robinson's on the Raiders. Like, so this whole other cast is now kind of gone. So I think that Sky Moore's going to fit in there pretty well. His ADP now is starting to creep up a little bit. I got him at a pretty advantageous ADP back when a little bit. Leonard Fournette's another one that I have on um, quite a few of my teams. He's an easy, just like a third round pick, fourth round pick in some places. He's starting to creep back up. But in Underdog Fantasy, where it's half point PPR only, I want volume, I want touchdowns, and he screams all of that. I got this freaking fly cruising around. Some other guys, I'm not going to go much further below 30%, but Trevor Lawrence is another one that he's so far down there. The Jags are just going to have to pass so much. I think that these freaking projections are pretty terrible. I think he is going to be able to outdo his touchdown projection or his what he did in 2021. I'd be looking for at least 24 to 30 touchdowns for him to really kind of double or do a little bit more than his 2021 numbers. I mean, these are terrible numbers. You don't ever want to see that, right? But let's finish up with going to take a look. I'm doing a couple of live drafts right now. Let's go take a look at some of the drafts I have, and I'll kind of talk you guys through what I'm doing, why I'm doing. Drafts active. Well, I've actually got a pickup, so let's go right now. So I've got a third pick on this this team here so far. I have taken a running back and I have taken a tight end, which is Travis Kelce. I am going to go ahead and select Cortland Sutton while we're just kind of sitting here talking about it. Perfect. We can kind of go take a look at. Let's go take a look at here. We should see players 2 picks away. I've got another pick coming up kind of soon. Not going to let me. It's all right. I wanted to take a look at this one because this one is almost done. Come on. Seems a little easier to. Here we go. Here we go. Man, this is going to be some good video because this fly is just killing me right now. All right. So this draft, I've got Herbert, Fields, Eckler, Javonte Williams, again, Isaiah Mitchell. So that percentage is going to go up. Isaiah Spiller, Cortland Sutton, or I'm sorry, Cordero Patterson, Tyrion Davis Price. So just have one more pick here. So likely my last pick, I'm probably going to try and pick a running back. I'm a little bit loaded at wide receiver now. Got two solid. Hayden Hurst is a guy I kind of wanted to talk about, which is why I opened this one up. I think he's going to have a pretty good year in terms of touchdowns for Joe Burrow. Um, he's a guy that I really like, and if you're playing best ball, he's a tight end that you can go get kind of all day long. That is going to really help your team out. I believe this year, you can basically get him. Like I said, I just took him with my last pick. You can get him very late. And it's not going to cost you a whole lot. So I just kind of wanted to do that video to kind of go over my results. We'll go back to it real quick. Exposure. Aha. So now we've kind of updated. So Brevin Jordan, Danny Gray, Elijah Mitchell, and Irv Smith are my four top exposures in Underdog Fantasy so far off of 12 teams. So out of 12 teams, I have each one of these players on 6 of those teams. My next highest owned guys are then going to be Will Fuller and Rondale Moore. So that kind of rounds out my top 6. Hopefully this was helpful. I think it's a good exercise to go do and take a look at. And because I'm going to do more best balls before the season starts, I want to try and not get overexposed to certain players, but I'm also not going to let a draft and a player coming up in a draft, prevent me from taking that player because I have too much exposure to them already. If I think a player is going to hit and I really like the player, just take the player. It's really that simple. Thank you guys for hanging out, and good luck with the rest of your best ball drafts this year.